The Conservative government in the United Kingdom is continuing on with its Orwellian approach to censorship by preventing pornographic websites from being accessed in the United Kingdom. Because won't somebody please think of the children? Yeah. So no week of Linux news this week. I'm kind of concentrating more on the Linux desktops at the moment, but I wanted to go through the story which came about at the end of November. So the intention is to hand over control of blocking pornographic sites over to the British Board of Film Classifications, the BBFC, who will order internet service providers to block websites which don't have an age verification system on. So what do they mean by an age verification system? What, would you like to see my passport, my driver's license? Or can I just click a button that says, yes, I'm over 18? Of course I am. Oh yes, of course I am. Really, is that like, what do they want? I mean, I'm not going to hand over a date of birth to any website because there's a massive history of them losing that data to hackers. And yeah, I don't really care about my banking information being leaked out to hackers because I can change that. What's the one thing about my life I cannot change? Yeah, my date of birth. Honestly. So it seems such a one-sided approach. Protecting the children. But what about the people who go into making these pornographic movies? The men and women starring in them, and the men and women who go into creating the movies and editing it all. Cameramen, sound people. Yes, there's probably quite a lot of people whose work depend on, well, this sort of thing. So what are they going to do for a living? Just go on unemployment benefits instead? Is that what they'd rather? Yeah, didn't think of that, did they? Shoving the responsibility over to the internet service providers. Well, I recently seen a block list for a DNS server for blocking porn websites. It had over 600,000 entries on it, and that wasn't the full list. So what happens when you add a line of, say, 600,000 sites to a DNS server? Oh, it makes no difference at all, does it? Oh, no, wait, it does! It does make a difference. You see, it takes more computing power. Each time a DNS lookup is made, it has to go through that list and go, is it one of these? Oh, no, it isn't. No. And then that all takes extra computing power. But it takes electricity to run CPUs that got to go through that list, and those CPUs will give off more heat. So it's going to be impacting the environment. So won't somebody please think of the environment? Yeah. See, there's more than one side to things. And this do-gooders approach to won't somebody please think of the children, it's just so archaic, really. And I have to point out that when the Conservative government were being elected, this was not one of the items they put on the table for what they intend to do in their 4 or 5 years. No, this was not on the list. So yeah, I mean, where does it come from? And this story here. MP calls for pornography opt-in to protect children. Claire Perry. Was she the one who pushing for this? Don't know, this story was back in 2010. So that may or may not have been. So this is a bill that's going through at the moment that will allow the BBFC to control internet service providers and tell them to block certain websites. So looking through the story on the ever impartial BBC, yeah, right. So the plan is a wider crackdown of content that children can view online as part of the Digital Economy Bill. Okay. The bill that says we need a minimum of 10 meg. Yeah, right. Plan for the future. Only adults should be allowed to view such content. If sites refuse to comply, they should be blocked. They're dropping the onus onto the internet service providers. I'm assuming it's just the big 5 ISPs because my ISP, Zen, does not carry out any form of blocking at all. So the government said its new rules were based on studies that suggest viewing pornography at a young age can have detrimental effects on future adult relationships. A survey by the NSPCC found that nearly half of 11 to 16-year-olds had accessed an adult site, and 1 in 5 11 to 17-year-olds said they had seen images that had shocked or upset them. Presumably the parents hadn't been teaching them very well then. At present, all of the UK's biggest ISPs and mobile operators have a voluntary approach to blocking adult porn sites. So we have a list of film classifications in this country for age ratings. So Universal Parental Guidance 12A, never really understood that one. 12 being the minimum age. 15, 18 and 18 restricted. 18 restricted being that you can only sell that sort of material through a licensed sex shop or licensed theatre. So really thinking about it, it is a bit behind the times because the internet has come around and it's a free-for-all, it's a free world. Don't have to go through the BBFC for classification. It's not to say films in this country don't have to go through that, because they were. And this article dates back a couple of years ago and from The Independent. So a long list of sex acts got banned in UK porn. So they're already trying to stamp out a free democratic world here already. So the list of sex acts that are not allowed here. Oh, shall I read them out? Yeah, why not? Spanking, caning, aggressive whipping, penetration by any object associated with violence, physical or verbal abuse, urologina, can't pronounce it though, okay, role-playing as non-adults, physical restraint, humiliation, female ejaculation, strangulation, face-sitting and fisting. So is what, a couple of fingers okay, 3, 4 pushing it, but whole fist is way too much. So what happens? Well, that sort of material still gets filmed abroad, so it doesn't really stop things. History will show us just how successful it is when you block access to a certain item or certain material. So how about blocking alcohol in the 1920s, 1930s, prohibition in America? Yeah, no one drank alcohol at all, did they? There was no speakeasies, and cars weren't made to go faster in an attempt to escape cops, did they? No, that didn't happen at all. How's the war on drugs? Yeah, perfectly successful, isn't it? Oh, no, wait, that isn't, is it? And, of course, blocking torrent sites on the internet. Yeah, how successful is that? Let's take a look, shall we? thepiratebay.se. Oops, I can get there, can't I? Democracy in action. A very Orwellian approach to life. Well, thanks for watching. See you later.